Hi, it's been a while, about 2 months since I posted anything, and I'm getting in front of the camera and I don't know how this is going to go, and I don't even know really a huge amount about what I'm going to say. I've got a rough idea, but it's been a while since you've seen me because I've had a huge amount of life stuff going on, and one of the biggest things that's affected me coming onto Booktube has been losing my lovely dear friend Alice. Her channel was Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. So if you are not familiar with Alice, and if you are one of my subscribers, I imagine you're subscribed to Alice anyway, but if for some reason you have not heard of Alice, go and check out her channel. Alice was, and it's really weird to talk about it in the past tense because it's not been that long, just the kindest, most thoughtful, sweet, lovely person. And there's been a big outpouring of people making videos about her, which have just been wonderful to hear about the legacy that she's left behind, but still very raw at the moment. So yeah, I watched a video last night by my good friend Gemma. So Gemma and Alice and I are part of a wider group of friends, but the three of us read a lot together because we ran the FOMO book club, which was the Fear of Missing Out book club. I'll talk about that in a moment. But Gemma and Alice and I read a lot together, and Alice and I read a lot together individually, and there wasn't a minute where I was looking at something where I could pick up a book or anything that I was in the middle of that wasn't associated with Alice, and it just made me miss her and think about her a lot. So it was a bit painful for a while trying to read. So I want to get back to it because I watched Gemma's video last night, and that's not why I'm filming today. That's just a coincidence. Gemma put a video out, and it's so strange. She put her video out, and I've been planning this weekend. I'm going to film, I'm going to put a video out because I've got some reviews to put out, one of which is for Katie Lumsden's book, which is out on Thursday, and I loved it. And I want Katie's book review to go out before that. But I feel like I can't put that out until I've just done a sort of why I've not been here video. And that means talking about Alice. So much like Gemma, I don't want to sit and be upset about Alice and what's happened. I want to celebrate my beautiful, wonderful friendship with someone who has only been in my life for a few years, but has made such a big impact on me. And yes, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore like that because I don't want to get upset, and I don't want to be upset. I'm very private. Yeah, that's just not me to be upset in public. So I'm going to just talk to you about the books that I was in the middle of reading, that I stopped reading, or that I need to go back to reading, or that I'm going to read because of Alice, or that Alice gifted me that I still have to read, that she's sent me to read. So here's my kind of loose reading plans, and I say loose because I have also been reevaluating my time on Booktube and the things that I've been doing that have been taking me away from other things, other hobbies, other things that I want to do, because you kind of start and take stock when something like this happens, right? So there's some other things that I want to do with my life other than just read, and I love reading, but there are other things that I also want to achieve and things I want to do, and the thing that's getting in the way of it is all of the social reading that I was doing. Lots of it with Alice as well, actually, to be fair. But I was doing lots and lots of social reading commitments, group reads, buddy reads, readathons, all that kind of stuff, which was impacting the amount, because I'm not, I don't have a huge amount of reading time. So reading was taking up all my spare time, and I've got other things I want to do. So it's kind of made me stop and take stock of that, and also take stock of my relationship with Booktube and how many videos I'm putting out and worrying about that. And yeah, so watching it was a bit painful, and making videos was painful, but I miss it, and I miss all of you, and I miss the community, and I miss watching my friends on Booktube, and who have all put out some amazing content recently that I need to catch up on, and who have also lots of people putting out wonderful videos about Alice. And so yeah, so what I thought I'd do is talk to you about the things that I was in the middle of reading with her that I need to carry on reading, or if I can carry on reading them, because it's still quite raw, but also just some of the things that I have that I'm grateful for having, that she gifted me, that I'm going to read, or that she inspired me to buy or pick up, and just like, yeah. So there we go. I'm just going to talk about the lovely legacy of things that I have because of Alice. So one thing I'm currently reading because of Alice is this book here, The Good, the Bad and the Furry by Tom Cox. Alice is a great champion of Tom Cox. He's a very local author to me. So when I moved to Devon, I wanted to start this Southwest Stories project of local authors or books set in the Southwest. And she recommended Tom Cox to me, and she sent me this for my birthday last year, A Good, Bad and Furry. It's a non-fiction book about his cats, and it's perfect because 1, Southwest Stories project, 2, is about cats, and Alice and I both have cats that we dote on. So my cat's Pedro, hers is Harry, and they're both tabby cats, so they kind of like twins, and we would often sit and witter away about our cats quite a lot, to the point where Alice made me a tiny Pedro, which is here. She crocheted him for me, and he sits on this shelf, and he's always sat on the shelf. And the other day I opened up a drawer and I found this lovely Christmas ornament that Alice had crocheted me, so I'm going to leave it out even though it's not Christmas because it was from Alice, so I'm going to leave that there. So I've got that I'm currently reading at the moment. It's making me smile because it is very funny, and yeah, it's just really enjoyable. Then the other things, I've got quite a lot, another Tom Cox actually that I bought because of Alice, because she loved Tom Cox so much, and this is Villager, and she has a review of this book on her channel actually, and yes, that's Alice inspired. The other things, these are the last books that she physically sent me, that I think she physically sent me. There might be some others about, because I keep coming across things from her. It just shows you how just thoughtful she was, and I keep coming across these various things, because I don't throw anything away. I've got postcards from her, cards from her. But anyway, I've got 2 books which she bought me for Christmas, and they were for the FOMO Book Club, which is the book club we run together with Gemma. And Gemma and I are still not quite sure how that's going to work going forward. So if you are a member of the FOMO Book Club, I apologise. We've not been on the Discord. It's just been a bit difficult for us, and we needed a bit of space. And we're still not quite there in deciding what to do about it, because we used to read a book every 2 months and we'd meet up and do a live about it, a live stream, and we would chat about it, and that was so much fun, and I can't imagine doing that without her. But she did send me these books, so my plan, I say plan, my aim is to read Unsheltered, which is the July-August pick by Barbara Kingsolver, and to read that in August. Barbara Kingsolver, I read my first Barbara Kingsolver with Alice. At the end of last year, we read the Poisonwood Bible together. Alice, if you know her, you'll know Demon Copperhead was her absolute favourite book of last year, and I've still got that to read as well, but I was kind of putting it off because I felt like, oh, if I don't like it, oh my gosh, the pressure. But I'm sure I will love it. But we read the Poisonwood Bible together because she hadn't read any other Barbara Kingsolvers, and we put this on our FOMO Book Club list. So that, and she sent me this. So and she also sent me the September-October FOMO Book Club pick, which is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, which is, I wanted a physical copy of this because it looks like an IKEA catalogue. That's the whole point, because it's, oh yeah, look, I always write in who sent me the book. And fittingly, it's a cat-shaped Post-it note. Yeah, it's like a horror story set in a Swedish kind of furniture store, and the book is really cleverly made like an IKEA catalogue. So she sent me a physical copy of this. So yeah, I want to read that in October. She also sent me some books that she was getting rid of and thought I might like. An Ursula K. Le Guin, which she didn't get on with, but I want to read some more Ursula K. Le Guin. I've only ever read her non-fiction, by the way, but and then an Angela Carter, The Bloody Chamber and Other Tales, which I have wanted for a while, and she knows I like a subverted fairy tale, Alice, so she sent me that. And then the other thing, I got a few other things which were Alice inspired. Recently, I was in a lovely shop in Cornwall, and I, at that point, wasn't feeling up to book shopping, but this is how glum I must have been. My partner big jokes about the fact that I have so many books, and he just sort of pretends to get annoyed. He just pretends that it annoys him if I bring home lots of books. He's like, oh, I thought it was a one in, one out policy and that kind of thing. So he kind of teases me about my book buying. But he found a bookshop on holiday that was in a pub, and he was like, look what I found, it's perfect for us, come on, let's go, you can buy some books. And the fact that he was encouraging me to buy books just shows you how glum I was at the time. And I was like, okay, when someone's trying to cheer you up, I was kind of making an effort for it, and we went in there, and I was just, straight away engrossed in these shelves. So he did the right thing. And I saw a John Wyndham because they had remainders. They were like £5, as opposed to like £9.99 or £10.99 or something that they are. Okay, £8.99 or £9.99, I think they are retail price. And yes, they had these remainders, the Midwich Cuckoos and Ray Bradbury's Dandelion Wine, and Alice loved both these authors. So I've read Wyndham before. I read The Day of the Triffids, but when I was younger, and I can't remember it. And I read the Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, but I've never read any more Bradbury, and she loved Bradbury and Wyndham, so that made me think of her, so I got them. These other two I picked up secondhand, one very recently, another Barbara Kingsolver, The Lacuna, in a secondhand shop very recently. I can't remember where it was, but I feel like Barbara Kingsolver will be a favourite author, so but Kingsolver is totally Alice's influence to read her. Someone that I wanted to read, but Alice spurred me on to read. And then another one that I wanted to read, which Alice championed from the FOMO book club, was Michelle Magorian's Goodnight Mr. Tom, and I read that and loved it. I think it was my favourite FOMO book club read that year. And then I saw another Michelle Magorian in a secondhand shop, another Second World War tale back home, so I've got that. And again, Alice's influence. The other thing that you may know about me and Alice, if you know either of our channels, is that both of us were pretty obsessed. In fact, she was the only person who was obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer as me. So we used to send each other graphic novels and various things, and we decided this year we were going to read all of season 8 together. So we started in January. But if you know that series, you'll know that it's out of print. So if you want to buy it, you have to buy it secondhand, and it is expensive. So we were spurring each other on to buy really expensive graphic novels. But I digress. I had volumes 1 and 2 of the library editions, the collected season 8, and there are 4 volumes. So we're keeping an eye out, and I found volume 4. So I annoyingly had volumes 1, 2, and 4. We read volumes 1 and 2 together, and then I couldn't find volume 3 for a reasonable price. And so Alice keeps an eye on eBay. She sent me an eBay link, and it was to volume 3. Volume 3, which this eBayer, it was like an eBay shop, and they had it on originally for like 60 to £70, and I didn't buy it because they didn't even have a real photograph. They had just like, a screenshot downloaded from the internet. So I thought, no, I'm not going to buy that. And then they knocked it down to a buy it now price of £25, and Alice sent it to me. I just ignored it because I thought it was the same one, same price and the same whatever. And she sent it to me, and she was like, take a risk on it because it's an eBay shop, and if it turns up, it says it's in good condition, and if it isn't, you can send it back. So I did. I took a risk, and it turned up, and it's perfect. Downside was it turned up when it was too late to talk to her about it and tell her it was perfect. But now it kind of feels like a little present from her. Even though she didn't buy it for me, she found it for me. And so, yeah, I've got that. The other thing I was reading was, it was for her birthday. I was going to send her this book, A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World. So I was in the middle of reading that when I heard about what happened to her. And basically, yeah, I haven't finished it, but I can't bring myself to bring it back to the library as yet because I feel like I should finish it. But it's things like this that she hasn't yet had the chance to read. And the Abercrombie books I was reading with Gemma and Alice that are a little difficult because there are other things that I'm still want to read because of Alice, like the Susan Cooper series that I know she read and loved, and we read the first 3 together, and then she was going to see Susan Cooper, and I'm so pleased she got to meet the author of her favourite childhood books, because she loved that sequence, and she got me and Gemma and her to read the first 3 together. Then Alice sped ahead and read the next 2 because she was going to see Susan Cooper in person at the British Library, and she wanted to bring all of her books and she wanted to have read them all so she could talk to her, and she had them signed, and that was all wonderful. And then Gemma and I kind of tailed off with our reading because we hadn't read them with her. So Gemma, I think, has since finished, and I will finish them because she would be so upset if we didn't finish those books. And yeah, and she loved them and she knew them and she read them and she championed them. When it comes to books that we were reading together or planning to read together, like Unsheltered or Horror Store, or this one, which I thought I would read for her birthday because I thought she would enjoy it, it feels a bit too soon at the moment, a bit bittersweet, which is why I'm planning on trying the Kingsolver in August and getting back to it, because she wanted people to read. Alice loved reading, Alice also loved championing picture books, and this is another thing that she and I connected with. We're very much, like, I always felt Alice was very much a kindred soul. We connected on so many things, and then she also introduced me to so many things. Like, I need to read some more Christie. I read my first Christie because she was such a big fan, and I've always wanted to read Agatha Christie. I love the TV shows, the old David Suchet Poirot and everything. So I am going to read some Christie in her honour as well, going forward. But the other thing that we connected over was picture books. Alice loved picture books. Alice, like me, was a teacher once upon a time, and she loved reading to children. She loved picture books. She loved stories. She just absolutely loved the readathon that I run with Shelley Swearingen, Picture This, and she was a big champion of that. And one author that I always think about when I think of Alice, because both of us absolutely adore him, is John Klassen. And yeah, Alice had, and I had many conversations about him and about his work and about the surreal humour, dark humour that we just absolutely love of this author. So yeah, I'm left with a lot of wonderful memories from Alice. And recently a friend of ours from Booktube contacted me, Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl, and she said something that struck with me, and it makes me just smile thinking about it. And it was that Alice has left a beautiful legacy of people connected by books that she loved, which is a beautiful thought. So if you don't know of Alice's channel, go and check it out. If you haven't seen me before and you think, what a strange video, I do have other ones, you can check them out, and I will be making others going forward, but I just needed to do this before putting anything else out. And I do want to put some other things out, and I do want to get back to watching my lovely Booktube friends and back to the community. So yeah, this is a longer video than I intended it to be, but I had so much to share with you about my friend and the things that she's left me and the things that I'm going to hopefully go forward and read. One thing that's a bit painful is reading the Joe Abercrombie First Law World books. Gemma and I were reading those with Alice, and we were doing that every single day. And yeah, we were 6 books into a 10-book series, and we were about to start the next one. But it's just going to feel strange that Alice isn't finishing that with us. So we don't know what we're going to do with that yet. We both feel at the moment a bit too raw about it. But yeah, that's the only other thing that, yeah, at the moment, not sure about how that's going to go. I'm not sure about FOMO, not sure about any of it, but I just want to get back to the joy of reading and Booktube, because Alice loved reading, she loved books, she loved this community, and she would be devastated if we didn't get back to doing it. So yeah, and just for me as well, because I love it. So that's my kind of loose reading Alice plans and a long rambly video. So if you've stuck around to this long, just leave me a little heart emoji, very simple, and hopefully I'll see you again here soon. Bye.